If you're watching this video, there are high chances that you're part of the K-pop community, and for that, you understand what fanfic really is. Still, I'll explain everything one more time because there might be some newbies on the crew. Basically, fanfic is fiction written by fans where real-life K-pop idols will be featured. In this imaginary world, fans often let their idols be in homosexual romantic relationships. These fanfics rarely have heterosexual characters and characters of the opposite sex. Sometimes these fanfictions may feature an idol, and a fan, or the author, him or herself. In fact, fanfic is also referred to by a more advanced name, RPS, Real Person Slash. For writers in the field, this has never been a mainstream type of literacy because fans often overuse the figure of famous celebrities to write about sexual activities. While fanfic has been well known since 1990, where groups of the first generation, like HOT and Sexkies, were still household names, as more and more people started to go overboard and focus on exploiting the sexual relationship between celebrities of the same gender, especially male idols, a petition with more than 220,000 signatures has recently been sent to the Blue House of South Korea to punish the author of this allegedly sickening genre. In the petition, the sender pointed out that in fanfics, fans often put in the story details about abnormal sexual relationships between male idols, and even exaggerate the story in the direction related to raping and bullying. Explaining the petition, the person said that these stories could cause people directly involved in the plot to suffer from long-lasting mental damages. Moreover, for people not belonging to the K-pop community and not knowing the source of these stories, they could also cause a huge misleading interpretation about the idol's personality and qualifications. Take this Goodnight Kitten, a fanfic of BTS, for example. According to the author, in this fanfic, readers will be playing the role of a cat. Ironically, he was quick to add, "but you're not really a cat," implying that the animal disguise was just to make the story more appropriate. And you should understand for yourself that you're still a human in this case. While the first chapter of this fanfic was not so controversial to talk about, everything will come like a storm from then on. Opening the second chapter, the author wrote, "Today is the day. You waited for this day for 4 months. You trained your body to be in the perfect shape. Master has even taken you to a real spa for all the female needs, from lacquered nails to smooth legs." Basically, the person was describing how the cat, aka the reader, has prepared the body for one of the most memorable nights in life. However, scrolling the story down a little bit, you will see how the writer does not even try to cover the sexual element of the story anymore. In this particular part, all the words, the acts, and the expression that the writer used to describe that cat were actually those of humans. And you see the detail about Namjoon's "put your hand on his thigh and squeezed it." For such arousing details, it was quite clear to see how this fanfic about BTS was supposed to be rated R. In Chapter 3, the erotic factor was even pushed onto a whole new level with more sensitive details being uncovered. By now, there is nothing ambiguous about the true motive of the author. You actually don't need to finish all 48 chapters to see how the story ends because, in fact, there is no story at all. Everything you read will be about sensual activities and no plot with any meaningful messages. Just exactly like what's stated in the petition, when people not being in the K community suddenly stumbled over this story on Wattpad, there are very high chances that they would think BTS are full of sick personalities. Ironically, it seems like this problem is nowhere to be eradicated soon. Even with an anomaly sexual story like Goodnight Kitten, 1.3 million people were willing to go there and read it. Considering such an immense demand for fanfic, especially the one related to homosexual romance, more stories will be born to satisfy this weird hunger of some K-pop fans. In fact, not just famous figures like BTS are materialized into sexual elements of fanfic, but male celebrities of all ages and reputation levels can also be put into this kind of literary genre. That explains why the sender of the petition came to the conclusion that RPS is a kind of sexual crime, since it not only details the sensual, but also the molested scenes of male K-pop idols. Obviously, many celebrities were sexually harassed in this form of literary genre. Part of the petition also pointed out the other cause leading to the rise of fanfic is the ill management of many agencies. Reasoning for this accusation, the sender believed since the RPS culture may have helped build the reputation for an idol, there is no need for the management companies to put a stop to the misuse of their idols' images. Not long after the news about the petition was published, a netizen shared this on his SNS and wrote, "After the incident in chat room, the South Korean society should be more aware and conscious about the way celebrities' image is used." He also emphasized that the type of sickening literary genre that describes the sensual activities between male idols, especially those who are under 18, is obviously a sexual crime on the internet, and thus it should be thoroughly rooted out. Considering the silence of most idols used as sexual materials in fanfics, people believe that they could do nothing more since any direct comments would lead to the detrimental damages for their image and reputation. According to Park Chan-hye, CEO of the record label InterArts, entertainment agencies have never wanted this concern to attract so much public attention since there are many things for them to lose, from money to reputation. Besides, he also believed that fans deserve the authority to command their idols, as whether a star could go big or go home all depends on the support of the fandom. Of course, he was wise to add that the company is opposed to RPS, but that has always been a part of the fans' culture. Thus, as an entertainment company, they respect them regardless of their preferences and sexual orientation. However, there are also other powerful figures that expressively go against this type of literary genre. Upon the controversy, the culture critic Ha Jae-gun also commented that since RPS is directly related to the sexual abuse of a person, and has a high severity of obscene, it should be punished and regarded as a crime rather than a trait of the K-pop fan culture. Since many underage idols used as sexual materials, and other involved parties could be defamed by these fanfics, the whole situation should be taken into greater consideration, and corresponding laws should be legislated. On January 19th, Ha Tae-kyung, member of the Conservative Party, filed a requisition to the police station of Yeongdong-po to ask for an investigation about the creator and distributors of RPS. To further emphasize his point of view on the problems of fanfics, in the requisition, Ha Tae-kyung classified the creators and distributors of RPS as sexual offenders. He also went on to social media and said RPS is the problem between an offender and a victim. Those who produce and distribute RPS should be heavily punished by laws to increase awareness about this type of crime. Yet, if something seems wrong, it doesn't mean there's enough proof to prove it wrong. Kang Chun-sok, a lawyer at Yulwon, commented that it's quite hard to accuse people creating and distributing fanfics of slandering and defamation, because there are no legal precedents, and thus, many different aspects would affect the judgment process. Specifically, whether or not RPS is labeled a type of slandering and defamation depends a lot on the detailed qualifications of the character and the sensual level in the story. Solely describing the sexual scenes in the fictions, artworks, and memes is insufficient to declare guilt. In other words, there must be more details directly related to one idol to say that the fiction is talking about them, and they are the victims of sexual harassment. Moreover, though some would say that creators and distributors of fanfics should be fined based on Article 13, a person who sends any words, audios, posts, pictures, or any other documents that could cause embarrassment or despites the sexuality via mobile phone, mail, computer, or any other communication media with a view to evoke and satisfy his or her own sensual temptation will be charged with community service for fewer than 2 years or a monetary fine for less than 5 million won. The problem remains unsolved, since fans often create and distribute RPS to enjoy with one another, and have probably never sent them to their idols. Not only outsiders, like culture critic Ha Jae-gun, politician Ha Tae-kyung, and CEO of InterArts, but the K-pop fans themselves also have polarized opinions on the controversy. After a netizen posted his concern and confusion about the fanfic culture, the meaning of its existence, and the reasons some fans go crazy over this type of literary genre, in the comment section, many other netizens also shared the same viewpoint as this person. Honestly, why though? Isn't it obviously a crime? Why do so many fans support things like this? Why don't they keep these stories for themselves, and why do they always try to popularize such things all over the place? On the other hand, many other opposing opinions were raised. According to this group, since fanfic has never once destroyed or distorted the image of any idol, the accusations pointing at them were baseless. They also emphasized that this is indeed a culture and it deserves to be protected. A comment supporting the RPS culture said that we should never blame K-pop fans for creating and distributing fanfics because this kind of fiction has been there since the 80s and 90s. Under all circumstances, it'll be nearly impossible to put an end to this culture because it has been solidified by many famous movies, dramas, as well as animations all around the world. In fact, it's also a type of advertisement applied by many entertainment companies. While the future of RPS remains a big question, there is one thing for sure that this genre will not be banned anytime soon down the road. Even when new legislations are passed to suppress the popularity of fanfics, the great hunger of some fans will still make room for another wave of fiction to be born. So how about you? Which side are you on? Do you find fanfic is completely inappropriate and needs to be banned? Or do you think this culture is acceptable? Don't hesitate to comment down below and share with us your thoughts. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV, since we'll be back with more interesting content. Thank you for watching.